welcome back in Bucharest at Enescu Festival. A few months ago, I've started this project that is called Enescu and Romanian National Television Podcasts. And the title of this program is Inspiration Through Generosity, because generosity is the motto of Enescu Festival this year. And also I was inspired by the TED Talks, because there people are coming on stage and share their experience with the public. So this is what I want to do now with you also here. I want to tell me a few things about how tough is life being a musician, or how easy is life being a musician, because the people that are watching this interview, this podcast, maybe they are young generations and they want to know how to become great musicians as you are.
First of all, thank you so much. Great to see you. I remember our talk during the last edition of the International Violin Competition of Enescu from last year, and it's still fresh in my memory, and great to see you again here. To answer your question, well, it's a big question because there is no such thing as a formula. I always believe that music for myself is a calling. It's like when someone feels like you want to become a priest, and it has to be coming from inside you. Obviously, music education is very, very important, because through music education, the young generation learn to acquire skills that not necessarily they will become professional musician. But there are so many goods in music or in art that can teach a person to be a better person. However, to choose a profession as a musician, there is another dimension, and I do believe that unless someone really feel like that's for him or her, it's a hard thing, you know. You need to have perseverance. Talent is only a small part in it, because we obviously need to have talent, and a natural talent will help, but talent itself without hard work, and also we need the luck, because without luck, you know, nobody will hear a name. And nowadays, one can be discovered through, for example, winning a competition, or just simply being heard by a famous musician who say, I heard so-and-so, and then took this young person under the wing of this famous musician, and slowly the agent hears, or the people in the business hear. So there's a process in there. However, we also have to understand that the time we are living today in the 21st century, there are so many aspects also that helps is the social media. I do believe that it can help somehow something, but one has to be also careful that one is not only thinking about that, because at the end of the day, the content that we present is the music itself. So I like very much when I see, and I say that for myself too, one has to be serious. And one has to be serious means one has to be consistently searching for something. And that is a lifetime of work.
Yeah.
You never stop searching something. To be a conductor means you might know a piece, a Beethoven symphony, since 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and you constantly find new things. And if one say, I know everything, then your life stopped there. But when you still say, I don't know enough, and each time you perform something, you say, it's a discovery, and together with the other musician, going through this journey together and trying to make that connected to the public. This is the purpose of being a musician, because at the end of the day, we play for our audience. We get certain satisfaction, but our audience are our listener. And people who hear that will hopefully also remember, and then they can also talk about what they hear. It's a chain reaction.
Yes, yeah, very true. And talking about being a conductor, it's very interesting because you are on stage. You don't have any instrument to express yourself, nor the words. How difficult is for a conductor to put his own feelings into the orchestra, and the orchestra to the public, of course?
Obviously, you need to have very clear view of the score, of the music. And through this study and through this clear vision, it's a process that is a take and give. If you have a great orchestra, the orchestra also will give something and then they take information from the conductor. So it means it's through the gesture. The gesture means it's the hands, the eyes, and certain body language. And it's a communication, as you said, without words. Obviously, in rehearsal, we have to use some words to address certain things. But when it comes to the actual music making, it's energy, it's feeling energy. Because to learn conducting in a very basic way, to learn just to beat 1, 2, 3, 4 or 1, 2, 3 is the easiest thing. You can tell a child, beat like this. But how to use this movement that is actually integrated, and at all time the musician feels the energy that they need, because you have to think the orchestra is the instrument. The conductor is not making a sound, as you said. However, we can influence the sound by certain way of gesture, by certain way of impulse. Even just an orchestra starting and the way you give an upbeat, that's already a sound. Like, what kind of sound? You want sound very, very pianissimo, or a sound more pointed, or a sound more weighty. You know, it's the way we carry information, and it is always the information before it happens, so that the musician understand. Is the upbeat before, whatever you want to call it. It's the moment before. An upbeat is not always before the bar line. An upbeat can be also in the middle of the bar, where something new is coming, and already 3 bars before you know that, let's say, the solo oboe will have something very important, and look like this, and together you feel like there is certain electric energy in the body and in the aura, you know, and everyone feels that. And the colleague also feels, so they know, oh, now we have to play even softer, because dynamic is all relative, right? If Mozart writes piano or pianissimo, or Beethoven writes forte, fortissimo, there are 1,000 kind of forte, fortissimo. You have to integrate it with the context of the moment, what it needs, with the acoustic, with the character of the music. So therefore, we are talking about colors.
Yeah.
Easy to say, but difficult to do.
Yes, I want
and
to...
homogeneity of sound, right? The way an orchestra, great orchestra, they play with certain way, certain style. And it means that every section feels, and the strings here, the winds and the winds, so it's a balancing things. And this interplay, a conductor can help, can influence. And with a personality, good personality, with good approach, if the chemistry works, hopefully it can be a unforgettable experience for everybody.
Yes, of course. I want to insist talking about being a conductor, because many people that perhaps don't know music, for example, they want to go for the first time in a concert hall, and they see the conductor on stage, and they wonder, what is a conductor? You are a very a good musician also, because you have to know how to play the violin, or how to conduct the oboe or the cellos, and it's very important that you have the whole image of the music and the
it's
score.
It's not a one-line music. The music, which is as a whole, the score, in the perspective that everyone feels that the conductor gives the channel to so that the structure of the piece is very clear. And the flow of the music is very clear. This is the job of the conductor, is to make sure that, because sometimes acoustic is very difficult. Some acoustic is more easy than others, or maybe because of placement where certain sections sit, they cannot hear certain section, so conductor has to understand, okay, at that moment I need to help more that section, for example. So analyzing the situation on the spot is very important, and taking hopefully the right decision to get the best result. That is also important.
Yes, of course, and it's as you said, the chemistry between the conductor and the orchestra is very important. And how difficult it is when you go for the first time in the front of the orchestra, because how do you get to that great moment on the stage when the concert takes place and the public applauds and feels thrilled about the music?
Normally, of course, as you know, we need some rehearsals. With some orchestras that you already work together a lot, the relationship is more immediate, because you know already certain things, and you can also talk directly with certain players if there is some little things that needs to be clarified. When you meet an orchestra for the first time, one has to feel the energy. You know, it's psychology. You know, a lot of times you use psychology, and a lot of these things are not taught in school. As I said, you know, conducting can be taught to a child, and it's very easy just to beat time. But how you use that, and then use that in the actual practice with understanding the situation and psychology, and with orchestra. Some orchestras are maybe with certain thing they are used to certain way of working. They might not accept easily certain approach. You have to feel that too. So this is important, to always feel the ground. Always feel the ground. And I think with experience, hopefully that helped, because a very young conductor, I'm sorry to say, but sometimes the business also takes someone too early, and then you're not ready for it. You know, the person is too young, and to conduct a Mahler symphony at the age of 18 or 20 years old versus when you're 50 or 70 years old, it's different. You have had experiences that counts, and that you know how to handle situation. The most important in this profession is how to handle situation, because you never have enough rehearsal. That is clear. Rehearsal is always very concentrated, and some orchestras, perhaps because they know certain things, they also play already in a certain style. If you want to change something, then you have to do it in a very positive way. Because we are gone with the era of the past, Fritz Reiner, Toscanini, George Zell, you know, where the more authoritarian conductor was what it was. But today it's more collegial, so that one needs to feel like, you know, we are primus inter pares, so to say, that we are one among each other. And at the same time, we need to show clear leadership, clear vision, so that the musician feel like, okay, we feel good because there is a good leadership in there.
Yes, it's a wonderful word, leadership, yes, because the conductors are leaders, of course. And you also have to be very versatile with all orchestras, a good psychologist, of course, and you have to adapt to every orchestra and every culture. This is a very difficult mission for a conductor.
Very difficult. Yes. And again, there is something which is not taught in school, but it is emotional intelligence. And I think hopefully with experience, with being older, that could help, because a conducting profession is not supposed to be taken lightly. If it's taken too early, with being pushed too early, someone can crush. And the same with soloists also. You know, we have to be very careful in this profession. It's a long, long tunnel. The longer it is conducting, as you know, it could be Giulini at the age of 80. You know, he was conducting for the first time Bruckner Te Deum. He did not dare to touch Bruckner Te Deum until he was 80 years old, because he felt he was not ready for that. So certain works, when it's so personal, you need to wait. You can study and study and do other pieces by this composer, but certain key works, that can wait until the right moment, with the right set of mind, and maybe with the right relationship with an orchestra. Then say, okay, now I think this work is ready for a person.
Are there moments in your career when you, I don't know, met tough people, or an orchestra that wasn't very, I don't know, adaptable to your requests?
You know, we have to always take things also not so seriously, in a good way. I mean, you know, you have to know how to lighten things up. When there are things which is probably a little bit, how to say, difficult situation, ease it out, you know, and try to find ways to. This is psychology. And hopefully, again, you know, with certain approach, human approach, one find ways. Because I do believe like this. Every serious orchestra, they will always want to sound good. Even those that probably is not used to playing certain way, if they know that the conductor is serious, and the condition is also, you know, focusing on that, everyone want to do their best. Everybody.
Yeah.
So this is important to realize that I think with good human relation, anything is possible.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. You are here also for the George Enescu International Competition. How was conducting young generation? How I've seen you on stage, and I know you're 100% with them and helping them, and they feel that. How is this mission for you?
It is important because you have to maybe at that moment share certain things of your knowledge that, you know, for example, if you take a seasoned artist or soloist that have played on stage a long time, like my dear friend Daniel Müller-Schott, who have worked together a long time and also being friends for a long time. We have done many concertos together on stage. We don't even need to say anything to each other, just look and we feel each other. However, when we meet a young soloist, obviously I could have said certain things that could help them to focus on certain things. Like usually the point is that they play very confident, but it's a little bit sometimes missing the, it's like you feel like there is an energy that comes rooted like a tree. And being a soloist means that the soloists have to transfer this energy to the orchestra and the conductor and vice versa. If the soloist is just playing very well and not sort of being aware to transfer this energy, I feel that there's something missing in there. And that is often is my mission, is to try to make sure that this young talented person is aware of this element. Because again, that is psychology.
Yes.
He or she has to work out that in the mind while being on stage.
Yes. And
whatever, violin, cello, piano, or trumpet, or flute, whatever, or singer.
Yeah, and it's important for them to feel that you are a support for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And music is all timing, you know, because there is what we call metronome, but metronome alone without any musical understanding means nothing. So if you have a basic pulse, basic metronome, and at the same time knowing where is the phrasing going, what is the high point, what is the low point, where is the beginning of a phrase, or where is the end of a phrase, or is this musical phrase connect to the next one, and how to connect, and the character of this section from one character to the next character, working all that out in the head and preparing that and having a good overview. I think this is a way also to encourage the young musicians. Don't just study the note. You can be practicing 8 hours a day and not achieve anything. I mean, you can be playing perfectly, but without any musical understanding or enough musical understanding, it's not enough. So to step back and even put your instrument away, look at the score and try to have an overview, macro and micro, as we spoke about earlier, and have that internalized in the body system. That is the most important. Because whatever we work or whatever we try to perform and study, we have to internalize it in our heart. So it's like we feel every second in our body, like a Bruckner symphony, you know? I go back to Bruckner because for me, Bruckner is landscape, long landscape. You have to know 80 bars from now, there is that high point there, but that is still not the highest point, and there is another climax, maybe 200 bars from there, and how to plan. So the phrases are not only cut 4, 4, 4, that's very boring. One has to be able to see through things far away, and at the same time getting the details of the inner details of what is happening now. Because if we only think far away without any awareness of what's happening in the moment, then it's also missing tension. There's no tension, there's no, it's like you go to a museum, you look at Caravaggio, you want to see every little detail, but then you go step back and you want to see a good overview of this Caravaggio painting. And then look around again. You can spend 30 minutes looking at one Caravaggio painting by going step away and step in. The same thing with music. You have to be able to zoom in and zoom out all the time, all the time.
Yeah. And my last question is, when you walk on stage, when does the music begin for you? When you walk on stage or when you begin the music with the orchestra?
It begins already long before, because one has to be in the mood of something. Like tonight, I'm conducting Mendelssohn's Scottish Symphony. Ya, ri, ra, ra, ri, ri, ra, ri. I'm thinking about this theme already before, much before, and I already know that later how the progression, etc., how the tension is, you know, and then towards the end. So when the piece starts, the first piece, you also have to know how it ends already, sort of like that landscape. I hope I make myself clear.
Yes.
Because it is interesting, because the public, of course, come and they want to enjoy good concert, and they see, okay, the conductor is giving the tempo, and that's clear. You know, tempo has to be clear. But what to hear in the details that can help the orchestra, and also interpretation, because we are talking, every piece of music has to be interpreted. The composer write it, and with all details possible, but it has to be interpreted, and it has to be interpreted in hopefully the spirit that this composer deserves to be presented. So a Mendelssohn, a Brahms, or a Beethoven, or a Bach, or an Enescu piece, or Stravinsky, you know, it all has its own character.
Yeah. I've asked you this because many young musicians, soloists of course, walk on stage sometimes very frightened or with not a very good attitude. And that's why I was asking you, when you walk on stage, the music begins then, or moments before?
The thing is that when you're playing an instrument, you're worried that, oh, I will make mistake here, maybe there. Then the person is not sure. So my advice is, of course, for the young musicians is to study it so deeply and to internalize so deeply that it's only the music that matters. Of course, we have to be also being as perfect as possible, but perfection alone means nothing. We're not robots. You know, if there is maybe one little mistake, but it's a sincere thing. Remember great pianist Alfred Cortot, if you hear his recording, there were many wrong notes there. And those wrong notes were there because it's part of the music, but it's beautiful. You know, he was the great Alfred Cortot, and you can hear his playing so sincere.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And I think that for the younger generation, they should go back and listen to these great artists of the past. Enescu, Jacques Thibault, you know, listen to how the trio of Jacques Thibault with Pablo Casals and Alfred Cortot. Listen to how they play Schubert trio or a Beethoven Archduke trio. The phrasing, the sound. I mean, or Sandor Weg, another musician I admire deeply. How he played, how he made phrasing. He conducted Mozart Divertimento. How he made phrasing. I mean, this is unbelievable. And the young generation today should go back to those great artists, or listening to Radu Lupu playing, or Dinu Lipati. You have so many great musicians. And these type of artists who are so sincere, so serious, so deeply rooted in the culture, and at the same time having their own voice, their own identity, and the respect to the composer Arthur Schnabel, you know. A question about tempi also, you know, because we're talking about Beethoven, there are metronome numbers, but everything is relative. If Beethoven writes 60, metronome 60 for Eroica, pam, pam, you know, it has to be integrated with the actual situation, size of orchestra, acoustic, and ability of the players to get the best result. So we cannot say, okay, it's 60, I do it 60. It makes no sense, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Nonsense.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity.